All right, players are shuffling up. Alrighty, we have Austin versus Brady. We got Grinding Breach versus Rakdos Scam. Talk to me about what these decks do.
Yeah, so this is kind of the breakout deck that Austin's playing, the Corey Baumeister special. So grinding breach. So it has a similar but smaller fair game plan to Murktide. So we're playing Ragavans, Ledger Shredders, and then we have Grinding Station, Underworld Breach, and Mox Amber with Thassa's Oracles. So the way that this combo works is Underworld Breach obviously gives your cards escape. Grinding Station, whenever an artifact comes in, it can untap and you tap the second artifact to mill 3. So when you have Mox Amber and with a legend preferably, but you can turn your deck upside down. So it's another Thassa's Oracle deck with a reasonable fair game plan. It's very powerful. It can do some strong things. You can win out of nowhere. Like I said, you still have a fair game plan. You have Ragavan, Ragavan making some treasures, getting in there, setting you up. It is Jeskai, so he has Teferi as well. This is also an Urza's Saga deck, so a lot of interesting things going on in this deck.
We've actually seen these Dothy Voidwalker Grief decks on coverage before in these events. Is Grief, Thoughtseize, this type of stuff, is this going to be good enough versus what?
Yeah, Dothy Voidwalker is definitely a problem. You can't breach when you don't have a graveyard, and all the cards that you're milling, you obviously can't recycle Mox Ambers, so that's pretty big. Fury can mop up some of the smaller creatures, keeping Emeries alive or killing Shredders, which really help you churn through. Grief. Grief is grief, right? Sometimes you'll get some wins off of grief. But one notable thing about this grinding breach deck is breach doesn't have to be a combo card. It can just be a value card.
Sure.
I was watching the end of Austin's last round, and he just breached a Teferi out of his yard against the Yorion Rhinos deck, and that's powerful. So just because something's gone to grief doesn't necessarily mean that like it's gone. We can go value play with some grinding stations and get a lot of value. And really claw back in even if he falls behind. But like an early grief with Malika Rebirth is a lot of cards, and that's probably the Rakdos deck's best chance to just get out ahead.
All right, players have kept their hands. They're about to get started. Yeah, I Rakdos really kind of seeing a lot more play in every format right now, and you would think that like I don't know that anybody that I know really saw Fable of the Mirrorbreaker changing so many formats.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think it'd see much play in modern. I will not claim to say that. I thought it'd be good in Pioneer. I picked up one for my cube. I thought it was a really great card. Didn't expect it to change Pioneer as much as it did, and I didn't expect it to make a splash in modern. But we're seeing it in a lot of different archetypes. It's in this red black deck. It's in creativity. Like it's a really powerful card. It's so good in creativity. Like look at all these tokens. Threaten to make Archon copies. So looks like Austin's on the play, leading Fetch Shock Ragavan. One of the strong opening lines for this grinding breach deck is playing
Thoughtseize off.
Thoughtseize on top. Is playing Ragavan with a Mox Amber behind it. On turn 1, kind of gives you a lot of options. You hold up interaction like Heat or Bolt. All right, so we see that Thoughtseize come in. Notably, no grief. Did Austin mulligan, or did he forget to draw from his bauble?
So he was on the play, right? So he would have. Oh no, that is.
Yeah, it's
he's short. You're right. It's possible that Austin mulligan and we missed it, because I'm pretty sure I did see him draw. Oh, maybe he bobbled during.
Oh, on his turn. Okay. That makes
sense.
I was looking down at the deck list and didn't see that.
What? He did. I think he did. I think he bobbled him on his draw step.
Yep, that makes sense. Good habit against Thoughtseize decks. Notably on this scam deck, only 3 Dothy Voidwalkers, which as we noted is like an important card in this matchup. Like you can really shut down their avenues to grind, to combo, and just Emery not being this good in general when it just exiles cards off the top. All right, so more bobbling. There's a Malika Rebirth. Looks like he has a Ragavan in hand. Spikefield Hazard as a land against face-up Ragavan is really interesting.
I mean, if you don't have another red mana, you don't really have a choice sometimes, right?
Yep. And here's the Grief, and we'll see that Malakir Rebirth that got revealed.
I think he just grief actually. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. I thought you were saying he pitched it. That makes sense.
Nope. Yeah, I mean Austin sitting here with the bobble draw on his turn, now 2 bobble draws and just a land in hand. It's a lot of not value for a grief. Brady just invested 3 cards for a 3/2. Austin's gonna bounce it. Interesting.
I was gonna bounce it without drawing a card too, right?
Hmm?
He's also gonna bounce it without drawing a card.
Yeah. Now he's gonna draw 2 for the baubles. 1 for turn. It's kind of nice to have grief miss
Life
and then completely reload. He activated 2 baubles and his turn and his card.
Oh, got it.
Yep. Now Ragavan's coming back in.
Those baubles were pretty clutch in this game.
Yeah, they're very, very good. It's actually one nice feature of the 4-color Traverse deck too, is baubles sometimes can save cards like that or stop you from discarding cards and you can cash them in later. Alright, so here's the Amber. So 3 artifacts in play already. This is a pretty large construct. It's potentially 6/6 constructs. Let's see what Brady has. Pitching a Terminate, bringing that Grief back out. Let's find out what's in Austin's hand again. Just a Ragavan. Revealing a Sacred Foundry as well. So, little resource light. But we have the Saga to pull Austin back into this game. Brady's playing the Ragavan and passing. So, right now we have 3 artifacts. The construct's going to be 4. Untap, make another construct is 5. And then the tutor is 6. This is a lot of pressure when Brady's at 14. Nice 7th edition foil island.
Dude, I really love the 7th edition arts. I wish that they would redo a lot of those.
You seen the price of a 7th bird lately?
I mean, they were like 150 when they were
new.
Like, well, I was just say just like standard, with like the twin pod decks. I was trying to get them because that's just the best art by so much.
Yeah, the 7th edition ones are like several $1,000s.
They're
at 2K now.
That makes sense.
And the 8th edition ones that have the same Edward P. Beard Jr. art are now like 300, 250 or something ridiculous. All right, so Chicken Up Saga. I imagine we'll see a construct come in here unless Austin drew something incredible to do. I can't imagine what he would prefer to make with his mana other than a 6/6 construct. Okay, so there's the Amber.
This is looking pretty rough for Brady here.
So Austin already used the Spell Bomb, so he has a Springleaf Drum. Does he have a Shadow Spear main? Shadow Spear is in the sideboard. You're gonna always grab a bauble or an Amber.
Grabbing the
drum.
Actually, a pretty huge fan of this deck from
the Breach deck.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It attacks on a couple different axes. It just plays a lot of good cards. Grinding Station's like a little mopey if you don't have the combo, but
I mean, you just talked about when it wasn't, right? So
looks like so Brady has a Fable in his hand for sure.
He's taking a truck from that.
Yeah, this took 6 down to 8. Oh, and another follow-up.
I don't believe that Austin has played a land this turn.
He is not. Fine.
Oh, and he finds a good one.
So Saga land. What was the other one?
It's another saga. I kind of like taking both sagas here. Yeah, and that's what Austin will do. Oh, it looks like he might be changing his mind though. I think he took both sagas, but I couldn't see right at the end.
Yeah, Brady does have 2 main deck Blood Moons. Doesn't look like he has any additional out of the board.
Oh, he did not. It was not another land. It was actually an Emery.
Oh, I did not see that. Alright, So Austin's gonna mill 4 cards.
Emery was one of those cards that when it was previewed, I thought, well, this is busted.
Yeah, card's very powerful. I mean, it's just it has an ETB, but it doesn't get you value off the ETB unless you're doing other things. But it's just I like Magic designs like that, right? Like the threat is when they get to untap and it accrues a ton of value. All right, Spyro, discard a Fable, draw 2. Like one of them was a Grief. Just making 1 token here. And Austin has the Aether Spell Bomb, so this should be lethal. The second construct. Yeah, you can see Austin threw that spell bomb on top.
Interesting attack here.
Yeah, I mean Brady's at 6. That was miss lethal from Austin. I don't know how Brady can punish him for it.
It's also possible we missed something, but yeah, I don't think that the Grief deck really comes back. That's kind of not the way that it plays.
Yeah, the constructs are a little too large for Fury to do some catch up work here. Sometimes you can evoke a Fury and then Malakari Rebirth it to clean up a lot of boards, but
I think the problem was just how constrained the Rakdos deck was on mana this game. It made it pretty hard to find a way back in.
Yeah, but look at this here as Brady's looking through Austin's graveyard. Look how much of Austin's deck he saw this game.
And he saw huge amount. What's crazy is that he saw so much of it in addition where the Thoughtseize and Griefs didn't get to interact with them.
Yep. All right, and that'll be game 1 for Austin. Looking at the sideboards here. Austin has some he has an Aether Gust he could bring in for some of the red spells. He has a Soul Guide Lantern. Notably, Soul Guide Lantern can clear the elementals with the Malakari Rebirth trigger on the stack.
Yeah, on the Rakdos side, I don't know if I'm team Ob here.
Surgical Extraction probably coming in.
Surgical definitely comes in as the one of. Cleansing Wildfire might be interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, it could be. Austin's playing 2 basics.
Oh, wait. Hold on. This Ashiok also might be insane.
Yeah, the Ashiok that stops searching. Bricks Sagas. Bricks Fetches.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, definitely a good option.
Typically
that might play into Austin's sideboard plan if he brings in these Spell Pierces.
Sure. Torok, Dreadcaller,
Dread Cantor.
Thank you, Dread Cantor. Usually something that comes in against things like Murktide. I'm not sure if this is the matchup where I want that though.
Yeah, I mean we saw in that game Austin emptied his hand pretty quickly. Was able to restock after some whiffed discard spells through Bobble. Torok seems a little slow to me, and there's a lot of Austin's removal will kill it. Turok's obviously at its best against 4-color when it's pro red and white. Blank the majority of removal that deck plays. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the players bring in here. Is where you see them.
Quite a few cards look like it's coming in here.
Boarding out the Liliana. It's like 5 cards. 5 cards in. He might be bringing in pushes. Hidetsugu Consumes All is in Brady's board. That's very, very powerful here. Cleans up constructs, Ragavans.
Is that the Wrath?
It's the 1 black-red. Exiles things that cost 1 or
Oh,
less.
right. And then it flips.
Yeah. It also exiles graveyards on the second chapter as well. So I imagine we saw maybe the 2 Consumes All, maybe the 3 Fatal Push, maybe the Surgical Extraction. From Austin, I'd expect the Spell Pierces. The Spell Pierces are decent at stopping the reanimation of the Evoke Elementals. You can also blank a removal spell on on a critical piece.
If Austin knows that he's playing against a deck with so many potential 2 and 3 drops, all like kind of clogging up the curve, do you think that EE is something to consider?
Um, I'm not sure. This list has a lot of 3 drops, but Austin's deck's actually not that good at making 3 colors.
Sure.
I mean, he is pretty land light as a whole. I mean, he has
Because Malix Amber only taps for the colors of your legendary permanents, right?
yeah, only the legends that you have. So he'd need a Teferi and Polarity to tap for white. He has some fetches and things, but a lot of times these decks get constricted because low land counts and Urza Saga. The complication there as well is that he might want to play around Blood Moon.
Yeah, I think the EE probably usually comes in when you want to get it for 0.
Yeah,
So
yeah, EE is definitely at its best on 0, sometimes 1. Anything more expensive than that's a little rough. Man, I really dislike when people split their sideboard cards up like that when they're shuffling. It's like if you're shuffling enough that it's randomized, it doesn't matter where you put them.
That's
And
true.
if you're not, then that's a whole different issue.
Shuffling techniques brought to you by Aaron Lee, ladies and
Yeah, yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah. Brought to you by the connoisseur of shuffling the double sleeved Yorion deck. Yeah, honestly, I think one of the bigger things that matchup was Austin got such a mana advantage from that Ragavan. Brady not having a second red source to Spikefield Hazard that Ragavan was huge.
Oh yeah, I mean when I was talking about constricted on mana, he had to play his probably a card that he specifically has in his deck
For
for
Ragavan.
Ragavan.
As a land.
Yeah, as a land.
Not ideal.
Austin pile shuffling, so now you have to apologize to him for.
No, because why did he separate them? Why did he separate them then?
Every single 1K plus, we have to talk about shuffling on this when it's modern because that's what Yorion does to the format.
It's true. There's Lee Fisher has an entire judge presentation about shuffling.
Does he? Is it on
He
YouTube?
does. I don't believe it is. You can ask him. He'll probably send you the slides for it though. There's a lot of math.
That's
like how much shuffling is necessary to randomize this.
It's actually a question that I get a lot from new players from like podcast listeners. You know, it's like
how much should we shuffle?
How much should I shuffle? Like, to me, it's like I am a big fan of the pile shuffle, 3 riffles, pile shuffle, 3 riffles. Like, there's, it's gonna give you, and then just as much clump shuffling as you want to do. But
yeah. Awesome with this custom dragon shields, the sad lads. It's nice touch. Austin refused it. Longtime Death Shadow player. He actually top aided a super qualifier on Magic Online with Death Shadow, and then has refused to play the deck since. I don't know why. Even after a local player won.
Quentin Pierce won a modern challenge with Death Shadow, and then dropped it immediately after as well.
Yeah, it's so strange. And we had a player win an RCQ with Shadow.
Shadow's really hard to play for what it's worth.
It is
in these type of like these 9-round, if you're gonna win events, 10-round events, it's pretty exhausting.
All right, so looking opening hands, Brady leading on a Black Cleave Cliffs, kind of the ideal start. Oh, and there's the grief. Pitching at K Command. K Command's also very good in this matchup. Brady does have 2 in the deck. We're gonna see Austin's entire hand. So two breaches, a shredder, a bobble, a heat. Brady's reading breach. That is not a good sign for Brady. And a Teferi. All right. Well, this is a very good game for Brady to be on the play here. If Austin was on the play, this grief would have to take the heat. And instead, we're going to get 2 cards immediately. So buy shredder, buy bobble. All right, so we're going to leave Austin with some breaches that are a little tough right now. You definitely don't want too early. Austin's going to play with his hand face up. I imagine we'll see this heated immediately. Yep. Can't let him untap and potentially Malachir rebirth it again, and you don't want to start the game off by taking 3 on turn 2. Verdant pass. All right. Brady's hand. He has a lightning bolt. I can't see what else is there. He definitely does not have a Dothy Voidwalker. He would have slammed that on turn 2. Getting basic swamp.
I'm surprised that these decks are not we can talk about it probably during the next game. But we actually tried to dot the Voidwalker Jund deck with like Elvish Reclaimer and Sagas.
In Jund, or I've seen green black.
Yeah, we tried Jund.
That sounds like a lot of mana.
It was kind of hot. Well, you gotta play Ren.
Yeah. There's Ren's gonna solve all your mana issues, like it does for 4-color.
I mean, it doesn't solve any of them. It actually makes it worse in that deck. All right, we have a tapped. We have 3 colors of mana really fast. What are you talking about?
3. Austin not respecting the Blood Moon at all here, which is interesting because I think if I was in Austin's seat, I would probably respect the Blood Moon a little more after seeing my opponent fetch for basic Swamp, especially knowing that he has Seasoned Pyromancer in his deck. Looks like Brady is sitting on a Fury, a Lightning Bolt, and 1 unknown.
Well, does it matter because he can play the Teferi plus here? Let's go get an island.
Yep.
That really is a pretty island. I actually know that art too. That is actually one of my favorite 7th edition arts.
Great. Lands from 7th edition and Odyssey block. Wonderful. Odyssey has the best basics. I will fight over that. That's the hill. That's my Magic hill I'll die on. Is that Odyssey has the best basics of any set. All right, so we see Teferi come in.
Huge fan of the Mirage basics.
Mirage basics are also nice. I'm a little biased because Odyssey comes in foil, but Mirage is nice.
I have some Mirage basics signed by Mirage top 8 Pro Tour competitor Aaron Muranaka.
the sealed Pro Tour, the pre-release Pro Tour. He had 2 Caravex Torches in his sealed deck. Seems good. All right, so we see Brady end of turn pick up the Blood Crypt. The Teferi's at 1. I wonder if is that Teferi gonna get spike fielded? Ooh, Ragavan.
I feel like Teferi could live through a field of spikes, but I don't know.
Doesn't like it.
Put on some wooden shoes, man. I don't know.
Alright, spike field. Player maybe quickly double checking to make sure that doesn't just go to creatures. Alright, there's a grinding station. Ragavan treasure. So Brady's hand is Ragavan, Bolt, Fury. A lot of interaction. Does not line up particularly well with what Austin's doing at the moment. Austin needs to find an answer to that Ragavan.
What's the white card in Austin's hand?
Is it
Prismatic Ending?
Yeah, he has 2 Prismatic Endings in the board.
Okay.
Interesting sideboard in.
Maybe it was just for Ragavan.
Perhaps. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty reasonable card on the draw to clip Ragavans, I guess. Looking a little awkward now. There's heat. All right, so just a Bolt and a Fury. That treasure does allow the hardcast Fury. It'd be bad if Austin draws something to develop his board a bit.
Looks like he drew another expressive iteration.
Oh, we're gonna breach with the iteration. See, so this is what I was talking about with the value breach. I mean, 4 mana iteration, not nearly as good, but I believe he also has a bauble here, so he gets a bauble as well. Austin doesn't let us see what he picks up. All right, breach the bauble back out. Yeah, 3 cards for escape.
Myself.
The secret scry. Down to 11. 2 Fury hits away. Fury is such good clock.
I don't think that it could live though, right? Oh, I guess you can only make 3 mana. Austin's hand now wear tear.
Yeah, interesting decision there to put the shock in tapped. I mean, he could take the 2 damage to hold up the tear, as well as representing another red removal spell. Let's see, what did Brady draw for his turn? The black card.
Quite the grip that Austin has right now. A lot of cards, and now Brady has to decide whether he wants to commit the Fury to the board, which he does.
Yep. Yeah, that breach was a 3-for-1, right? Because he got the bauble, which drew, and the iteration, which got 2 cards.
Yeah.
It's a big mana investment, but a lot of cards.
I played Harmonize before.
Harmonize, not that flexible, but yeah, Harmonize is a perfectly reasonable card. Yeah, this proactive Fury is just so much worse. It's part of the problem with 4-color. 4-color is such a worse reactive deck when it has to be proactive. Now we're seeing this Fury as a Shredder. It is still a clock, but if Austin can find an answer, like Brady's pretty far behind.
Well, I mean, the thing is with only 4 mana, it's entirely possible. I like this.
Notably, the Teferi exiled on the last breach. Teferi bounced the Fury when he doesn't have 5 mana would be adorable.
That breach a lot worse.
That one is a lot worse, yeah. Terminate on top. It's ready now as a Terminate and a Bolt. Shredder got out of Bolt range, but Terminate will finish it off.
I was actually thinking how important it was to get that out of Bolt range, so it was funny that the top card was the Terminate.
Alright, so Bobble. Oh, there's the Teferi draw. We also have the ability to make a construct. We can actually do both because of Amber. Oh, he has enough mana to do both anyway.
Going down to 4.
Oh, that bolt. It is a little dicey here. If you bounce the Fury and he draws a land, you're just in a terrible spot. But
I think you kind of have to. I mean,
yeah, you have to answer it. I don't know if I'd try to rely on a 2/2 construct to block the Fury here. Okay, now the Amber matters. That's a nice turn.
It's good use of the Bolt.
Notably not to the face. While the Shredder would be nice, I'm sure Austin's a little relieved to not have 1 fewer Bolt with 4 life remaining.
I mean, I don't know what Austin's thinking, but he just has no choice, right?
Yeah, he has to bounce it.
Celestia cards are Fury and black card that I thought was a Dothi Voidwalker for some reason.
I think it's a Malachite Rebirth.
Oh.
Which might get played as a land this turn if Brady doesn't draw one.
Sure will.
Setting up for the Fury next turn. Notably, the Fury, if he could have played it here, would force the construct activation. Oh, he wouldn't have mana to do anything else anyway.
So the thing though is that we have a free bounce with that's probably not gonna happen though. What are you even supposed to get
with the Saga? He might have Shadow Spirit or Soul Guide Lantern.
Yeah, definitely making another construct.
Yeah,
gotta get these tokens pretty big. I like Soul Guide Lantern. I mean, I guess you could just grab the... Yeah, Soul Guide Lantern it is.
Four construct rumbling in. Brady's at 16, so you can take a couple hits from these.
Nice. The post-combat artifact.
Missed the point there. It's all right. Might have had a different option if Brady had a response. Iteration's so good. This pulls you so far ahead. Rightfully banned in Pioneer.
Yeah, but it was before I got to play that blue-red deck.
Which one? That's the problem. The Phoenix deck? The control deck?
No, the prowess deck, man. That deck was hot.
Yeah. See that deck too. The fact that it's which deck and there's 3 options, all very powerful, all
and that was a sequence or two for Austin.
Yeah, that was quite the turn. And a spell bomb with the activation because of the Drum.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
6/6 constructs?
Yeah, what you're supposed to do if you're...
Yeah, and that Teferi is preventing any big plays involving Malakir Rebirth. Any splashy catch-up plays that Brady could execute here. We can kill the Teferi and then do it. Nice.
Wait, why would...
That's a heads-up play. Yeah, so he has Teferi, so he can't respond. So Brady could let the Fury trigger resolve, kill the Tef, and then rebirth it. Austin's Heat puts an end to that, and that'll be the round.
That's awesome play by Austin there. All right, we are gonna take a quick break, get Austin in here, and we will be back very shortly.
All right, we're back. We're here with Austin, who did not get Rakdos scammed.
I, in fact, did not get scammed.
He did not grind anything, but he had a super mega value breach that won that game.
Yeah.
Dude, that breach was hot.
It's just like, I like drew the... So I already boarded out one, so I'm like, okay. Because I'm trying to be like conscious of like how many breaches left in my deck total to combo. But I was like, I have 2 of them stuck in my hand. Obviously, in hindsight, if I was going to keep a 1-lander and rip land, it didn't matter what I did. I was going to probably...
Yeah.
I had 5 more spells than him, but the value breach was good. And then just... Yeah, he never drew a Blood Moon, so the Saga being able to make like 12 power was like pretty huge.
Yeah, so one interesting thing from that game that I was a little bit surprised at, we didn't see what your scry was when you played a bauble, looked at yourself, and then cracked the...
It was another bauble.
It was another bauble.
It was just like, I wanted to... It's like, yeah, it's quite literally a spell, but at this point, like...
Yeah.
I need to like turn the corner. I think it was like... Was that the turn he played the Fury? He had like the Fury just hang out on board?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like digging for an answer to that, or like more blockers, or a Saga, so I could like start turning the corner.
That makes sense. Or was that the turn after you bounced the Fury? You could have held up a removal spell or tear.
Yeah.
For a potential moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're playing the Grinding Breach deck. Have you played it before?
Hell no, I have not played it once. I literally sleeved it up. I got the cards from Clint, and then I sleeved it up for the first time today.
Perfect. You didn't even play it on Magic Online?
Nope,
Nothing?
not once.
You're just like, this deck looks sweet.
I have a sideboard guide from Corey B. and
Perfect.
and I watched, and I've like kind of taken like Twitter notes from like Ross and like this girl Jessie who plays it online as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I-
powerful deck, right?
dude, I've done some silly stuff
Yeah,
today.
it seems pretty sweet. What have your other matchups been?
Round 1 was blue white control. That matchup felt unlosable. I had an unchecked Ragavan go for 2 turns. Game 1, Ragavan hit a Jason Mind Sculptor. So on turn 3, I had 5 mana because I had a Mox Amber. I went Emery. For some reason, he chose to counter that. And then I played Jace, and I Fate Sealed him and tucked his 3rd land. No, I left an Archmage's Charm on top because I knew he was missing lands. So, and then game 2 was... I comboed him game 1, and then game 2 was a lot of just like, haha, I'm making Saga tokens. He like threw a dress down and made like 4 of them.
Nice.
And I beat Burn round 2. I mulled to like 6, and then like combo killed him off an Amber on like turn 3 on the draw, game 1. And then game 2 I like punted because I told you the punt story. And then game 3 we like kind of won. I just like kind of beat him down again with the combo like on turn 5.
Yeah.
He flooded out both games pretty bad though too, so
Shadow
bad
Spear.
beats.
Yeah, so you're liking the deck so far. I don't know if you had a chance to look around, look at some of the other top tables. Earlier there was a lot of Hammer and a lot of Amulet. How are you feeling about the room? Do you feel like you have the best deck in the room?
Probably. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I combo killed someone on turn 3 on the draw. I was like, wow, this deck is crazy. And then I feel like, I don't know if this is true. I haven't looked at deck list, but I feel like maybe Force of Vigor isn't as popular as it used to be as a card. So having that like, oh, I'm gonna Force Vigor your Saga and your artifact on like on the end of your turn, haha,
Yeah.
like that doesn't exist right now. I don't think for me. So
Yeah, well, if there's not a lot of Force of Vigors, then those Hammer and Amulet decks and you will float to the top.
probably.
You're 4-0. I'm not the best at tournament math, but I'm pretty sure you can double draw in.
I'd assume so.
Yeah,
I mean,
so we can take some breaks. We're gonna get some pizza here for everybody.
I just want to go drink some water so bad. I had nothing. I had a Sprite earlier because I wasn't feeling great, and then
man.
I'm just like, I've had nothing but soda. Like the only thing that's entered my body today is soda, so I'm like, I could use some water.
Nice. Well, congrats on the 4-0 with the deck you've never played before.
Oh, thanks.
We'll see you in top 8.
I just wanted to make you proud.
I am proud of you.
Cool.
All right, we'll be back with coverage of round 5. I believe that after this round, there's going to be 4 undefeated, so that we would expect to double draw, which actually means that we're going to end up with a lot of play-ins, win-ins the last 2 rounds. So it should be exciting.